Good day, everyone. I'm Jerry Fletcher, your guide for the next 30 minutes as we look at how to work a room. I had to learn the hard way how to do it. I hope to make it a little bit easier for you. I left the corporate world and opened a solo marketing consulting practice in 1990. I've run an advertising agency and a PR firm and been the COO of a world-class direct marketing outfit. I'm still in business. I chose to work with small businesses, entrepreneurs and startups and small companies. Little guys, striving like David against the big company Goliaths. I've been speaking about networking and marketing since about 1993. I'll show you how to get everyone in the organization to use contact management and help you put together automated marketing that works. But the question is, do you know how to work a room? I don't care if you run a home health service or a high-end facility. Knowing how to network at a meeting, a social event, or even on a chance encounter at the supermarket can lead to significant profits for you and your organization. So, as I said, do you know how to work a room? Whether your title is blank or you're the Lord High Poobah, if you're going to build your business, you need to be able to work a room. Now, before we get started, I want you to pull out not one, but two business cards. Get up and get one out of your pocket or your wallet or your purse. I'll wait, but not too long. There's a lot to cover here in a half an hour. On the back of the cards, write the numbers 1 to 7. Now you're ready. Quickly, the steps to working a room are: have an objective. Don't be late. Introduce yourself. Be sincere. Ask for a card. Circulate. And then follow up. I'm going to run those past you one more time, and then we'll talk about them individually. So, number 1, have an objective. Number 2, don't be late. Number 3, introduce yourself. Number 4, be sincere. Number 5, ask for a card. Number 6, circulate. And number 7, follow up. We're going to start with have an objective. Every gathering of people represents a networking opportunity. Parties, meetings, socials, dinners, even the line at the airport, the coffee shop, or the supermarket can be a networking opportunity. But if you don't have an idea of what you want to get out of it, you may be passing up a chance to begin a beautiful or mutually profitable relationship. Your mission, whether you choose to accept it or not, is to decide in advance what you want to get out of this meeting. Your objective can be as simple as to meet 2 new people, or to introduce yourself to a speaker, or strike up an acquaintance with one of those officers of the organization, or someone you believe will be there. You decide. The key is you decide in advance. Judith, a former client and one of the top-ranked financial planners in the country, was late to a conference with me one day. Now, I didn't mind when I found out why. She was in her office with a CPA who was bringing in a client with a multi-million-dollar portfolio. It was her second sit-down with that CPA to work out the details. The first had been to get better acquainted and to learn how they might help each other. Working a room was how the acquaintance was formed. Having an agenda for any chance meeting was the way the process started. Imagine the checkout counter at your local grocery store. It's about 7 in the evening. It's fairly quiet. There are 2 well-tailored women standing in the 9 items or less line. One turns to the other and says, "Excuse me," gives her name, explains that she's a financial planner, and goes on to say, "Didn't I see you at the association meeting this morning?" The other responds, "Yes, I'm a CPA." Judith says, "Terrific. We're always referring work to CPAs. Why don't we get together so I can understand your specialties?" They exchange cards. Judith calls to set an appointment, and the rest, as they say, is history. Networking history. how to work a room history, having an objective and an agenda that led to business success. The second item, don't be late. If you're going to attend, don't be late. In fact, it doesn't hurt if you show up a little early on most occasions. Ever notice how the most successful people seem to be the ones that organize things in associations? Or if the organization has paid staff, they're wonderful sources of information about the industry, and they're always there early. These people, the meeting organizers, are always early. The few minutes just before a meeting is the best time to meet them. Many times they will need a hand with some mundane task. Pitch in and help. Just walk up, introduce yourself, and say, "How can I help?" Believe me, you will be remembered. Just to be sure, ask them their name and position in the organization if they don't automatically tell you. Later, you can ask for a card. Being early also gives you two other advantages. It helps you act like a host, and it helps you overcome the jitters. Yes, act like a host. Can you think of a better way to be proactive? By helping people find their way into the room, introducing them to others, and relaxing them, like any good host, you'll find that people think of you as part of the in-group. You'll be perceived as someone that gets things done. You'll be able to say hello to the acquaintances you made at previous meetings as well. And as a result, you will make more usable contacts more quickly. So don't be late. And don't stop acting like a host because the meeting's over. Don't become one of those lemmings that bolt for the door at the sound of the closing gavel. Make haste slowly. Touch base with committee chairs. Pick up a card from that organizer you met earlier. Say thank you to the speaker. Take a moment with the prospect you met at the last meeting. Amble to the door, working the room and introducing yourself. You have to introduce yourself. Nobody is going to do it for you. It's surprising how hesitant most people are about just sort of introducing themselves. The funny thing is that once you begin a conversation, they'll jump right in. Remember to assume the mantle of host. Just say, "Hi, I'm Jerry Fletcher. I'm the CEO of Z-Axis Marketing. What brings you out today?" That's when I pause. That's to find out his or her name. Usually, because I've set a precedent by citing my title and my company name, they'll do the same, and I'll get an insight on why they're attending. That's the basis of a brief conversation, which I always begin by restating their name. The most beautiful word in all the world to just about anyone is their name. No other words can trigger attention so quickly. And even though a personalized form letter is the greatest oxymoron of the digital age, it's still hard to stop reading one, isn't it? Repeat their name. If time permits, ask, "What do you do?" That is the most commonly asked question at business gatherings across America. You need to be able to answer that question without sounding like a commercial. You need to find a way to make it a natural part of the conversation. That's why I came up with 30-second marketing. That and having heard way too many elevator pitches. But we're into how to work a room, so let's deal with that. The next thing on the checklist is be sincere. That means listen. As Malcolm Forbes so aptly put it, the art of conversation lies in listening. Now, I'm not saying you should let the person prattle on while you look over their shoulder like a big game hunter searching for another trophy to stalk. I'm urging you to get involved with what they're saying. Listen. Again, as Forbes said, to listen often is to obligate. Listening is the beginning of a relationship and an obligation for both of you. It sounds old-fashioned because it is. It's a concept I learned at my mother's knee. Favors, courtesy, and kindness should be showered on people without regard for the return. The favor I do for you will be returned by one that you do for someone else. And just as surely, a kindness I receive from a stranger will have come from the courtesy someone like you paid another. To make it work, you have to get involved. You have to listen. Listening is an active sport. You've got to stay tuned into what they're saying if you're going to hear that person ask you for information about what you do, or as they describe a problem that you may be able to solve, or as they present you with a question someone you know can answer. When the door to opportunity opens, you need to be ready to answer. Answer with a request for a card. Now, don't be bashful. Ask them for one. Assuming that you're at a business gathering or even a social event, you'll want some way to continue the dialogue with that new acquaintance, or to refer someone to him or her, or to contact them yourself at a later date. Their business card is the ideal way to get the information you need. In small companies, the probability is that the person you're talking to had something to do with the design of the card, or the company name, or other data that you find on it. Doesn't hurt to pay them a compliment. It's always appreciated. In larger firms, what you should be looking at is the title more than the rest of the card. That's where you'll find the greatest emotional involvement that your new acquaintance has with his or her company. Okay, you introduced yourself, you listened sincerely, and got a card. Now it's time to move along. Circulate. Everyone feels uncomfortable with ending a conversation, but it's okay. If you've taken the time to really talk with someone and acquire their business card, you can take your leave. All it takes is a simple, "Excuse me, it's really been a pleasure meeting you. Let's stay in touch." Then move on to another part of the room. Introducing yourself to another individual is just a repeat. But how do you break into a group? Before we go any further, a group is 3 or more. 2 people conversing is not a group. There are 2 sure ways that you can approach a group, however. If you know someone in the group, just lean in and say, "Pardon the interruption, I just wanted to say hello," and then begin to move along. Many times your intrusion is a welcome relief for someone in the group, and they will either pull you in or move along with you. The other way is intended to help you slide into a group. Is a little bit different. You slowly join the group with nonverbal reactions to the discussion. Usually the group will open out to welcome you in, or you'll be asked to comment or otherwise invited in. Once you're in, keep your eye out for folks on the periphery that might like to join you. Invite them in. Stay a while, enjoy the company, get cards, and then circulate. Then follow up. You never know who you're going to meet or what that person may mean to your future. Whatever you promise, deliver as quickly as possible. Now, I usually try to respond on that day or the next at the latest. The result is that people call me for references, for additional information, refer clients to me, and hire me to help with their marketing, or have me speak at a company or an association meeting. There's all kinds of things that can come of a quick meeting like this. Now, the thing is, it doesn't happen overnight. It does take time. Let me give you an example. A couple years ago, I was speaking at a small business conference. One of the gentlemen I introduced myself to before going on was an officer of the local chapter of Sales and Marketing Executives International. We exchanged cards, and later he invited me to a breakfast meeting of the organization. I went to that breakfast with 2 objectives in mind: to find out as much about the organization as I possibly could, and determine if it was a potentially profitable speaking situation. I got there a little early and had a chance to chat with some of the officers. One of them was the program chair. I was asked to keynote a dinner meeting. But that's not the end of this story. The topic that night was personal marketing. Lots of folks had anecdotes to share. Several handed me cards and asked me for one of mine. Gary Marshke was one of them. Gary called and asked if he could tape one of my presentations for a TV program on the Business Success Network. I agreed. But that's still not the end of the story. A short time later, I received a call from the managing partner of a major law firm in town that hired me later as their marketing counsel. That happened because his wife saw the TV program and told her husband, "You should hire this guy." Ladies and gentlemen, to be successful in today's pressure cooker business world, You need social savvy and the strategies that will allow you to take advantage of that knowledge. You need to know how to work a room. You can do it. Just remember these 7 steps. First, have an objective. Know what you want to get out of the gathering, but don't overlook the possibilities that come up as you chat with people, both at the organization meetings but also in line at airports, in stores, and even the DMV. Try to get to the meeting early. It gives you an edge in meeting the movers and the shakers. Third, introduce yourself. No one is going to do it for you, and acting like a host will make it easier for you. Those butterflies in your stomach will migrate to somewhere in South America. Be sincere. Listen. Understand the obligation you have to each of the people that you meet. Get a card. Ask for one. It's the easiest way to be sure that you have the information you need to continue the dialogue. Sixth, circulate. You came to meet people. You can't do it if you're rooted in a corner. Walk through the room, chat, shake hands, make an impression. That's why you came. Last, but definitely not least, follow up. Live up to your obligations. Fulfill your promises. Keep your word. Because words are the glue of society. My final words of advice today are these. Copy your notes from that first business card on the second. Give it to a friend or a colleague that you think might profit from it and tell them where to see the video of this webinar. I'll say that again. Copy your notes from that first business card onto the second. Give it to a friend or a colleague that you think might profit from it and tell them where to see the video of this webinar. Hope you've had as much fun as I have. Remember, businesses, careers, and lives of joy are all built one contact at a time. One gem of a contact plus another and yet another until you have a string of them, like a beautiful string of pearls.